Our first question comes from Kat, and she asks, this question ties into the revision process because most writers go back and obsess over the first line, first page, and first chapter. Okay? Editors and agents offering online commentary tend to say, make me care about your characters. So what are some ways in which you've seen this done well in a first line or first page? Here's why I'm conflicted. I recently saw an editor say, don't start your story during an ordinary boring scene. Show me why this moment is different. That's a good tip. But earlier in the 15-beat structure, the setup where we show the status quo world. Good. How do we show the extraordinary world without referencing the norms? Or like in examples Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Bruce Almighty, is this best done with stories that start off with the hero being unhappy? This almost always reminds me of Upward Downward Path fun and games. But can a story intro be interesting if the hero starts out in a good place at the beginning? How do you grip the reader when the hero's life isn't going wrong from the start of the story? Okay, so there's a couple questions in here I'm going to try to unpack. I want to talk quickly about, and maybe this will lead into the answers to the others, but I want to talk quickly about your hero being happy at the beginning. Your hero can be happy at the beginning, but because all heroes need to be flawed, otherwise where do we go? Where's the story going? There's always going to be sort of an uneasiness to the happiness, right? There's always going to be this little level of doubt that you're planting in the reader's mind. The hero might think that they're happy, but are they really happy? Because if they aren't, or if they are really happy, why are we reading about them? Their life's already figured out. They've already kind of done their hard work, and we're sort of picking up with them after they've finished a different story. So they're not really happy, right? They think they are. They've set up their life exactly the way they think they want, but something's missing. And that's going to tie back to your flaw, to your theme stated, to your need. So I would say, yes, heroes can think they're happy at the beginning, but the reader has to know different. And that's really the key. So that's what's going to pull your reader in too. If you start out with a story of a character who thinks they've got it all figured out, but you start planting those seeds of doubt for your reader is going to be automatically engaged, right? Because they're going to say, okay, so when is this character going to figure out what I've already figured out? And that's kind of what's great about reader manipulation, is you're giving the reader more information than you're giving the character. And that's such a great power to have over the whole situation, right? So that would be my recommendation for that. In terms of making the readers care about the hero from the very first page, this is where you're going to rely on your flaws and you're going to rely on your hero's goals. So I say in Save the Cat, you always want to have 3 things when you start. You want to have a character who wants something, you want to have a character who has problems and flaws, and you want to have a character who needs something. So the need is going to be how they fix the flaws. The goal is going to be how they think they fix the flaws, in a very simplistic definition. So when you start giving your character flaws and goals from the beginning, the reader's automatically engaged because 1, they want to see if they get those goals, and 2, they want to see if they overcome the flaws. So by sort of illustrating those flaws right from the start, we get a sense of who this character is, and we get a sense of why we're along for the journey. What are we waiting to find out? We're waiting to find out if they get what they want, and we're waiting to find out how they conquer these flaws. And of course, no, readers aren't picking up the story going, okay, checklist. Do I know what they want? Do I know what they need? Do I know what the flaws are? They're not thinking about it consciously, but subconsciously, when we pick up a book, that's what makes us engage with the character, is their problems and how they think they're going to fix them. So that's why I always say, start with goals and start with flaws. In terms of showing a boring day, I absolutely recommend you don't show a boring day. Opening images and setups and status quo worlds don't have to be boring. You can definitely focus on parts of a character's world that are not boring. And the way to do that is to focus on them trying to achieve their goals, or them being hindered by their flaws, because automatically that's not boring. A boring scene would be, a character goes to school, talks to her friends, goes to math class, goes home, does her homework. That's boring. But a character goes to school hoping that the boy's going to talk to her, and then he passes by, in her locker and never says a word. That's exciting, because we know now she wants the guy. We know she can't talk to him because she's shy or whatever her flaw is. It immediately makes it more exciting because you've inserted these goals and these flaws. Interestingly enough, The Hunger Games does start with a sort of status quo day, doesn't it? It starts with Katniss waking up going about her business, going hunting with Gale. But because Suzanne Collins is starting to sprinkle in these little doubts about Katniss's life is a mess, and Katniss is dealing with some grief, and Katniss lives in a pretty effed up world, and, you know, all of these things that she's sprinkling, we get a sense that there's a bigger thing happening and that there's a bigger thing coming. If you want to read a fabulous opening image or setup that lasts 100 pages and is not boring, even though it's totally status quo, you should read the book Room by Emma Donoghue. And it came with the Save the Cat starter kit, which hopefully you have. If you don't, make sure you sign up for my newsletter and get that. So it came with the newsletter. It came with the starter kit. The beat sheet came with the starter kit. But she does such a great job of like literally 100 pages of setup where nothing happens, and yet we are on the edge of our seat. So I think there's definitely ways to do that. I always say, if you're struggling with your opening image and you're getting comments from readers saying things aren't happening fast enough, then your opening image needs to be more action oriented. There needs to be something bigger happening. If you've read my book, 52 Reasons to Hate My Father, you know that it opens with a car crash, and she's just crashed her Mercedes into a convenience store on Sunset Boulevard. While that feels like a catalyst, it's not the actual catalyst. The actual catalyst comes later. But it's a mini catalyst because it represents her flaw of being irresponsible, and yet it is still sort of her status quo world because this is the world she lives in before her life really changes for good. Okay, I went a long way on that question, but it was a really good question and it had a lot of levels. So thank you, Kat. If you enjoyed this video, we've got a lot more on writingmastery.com. Check the description for links to our blog, free writing tools, and more. Happy writing.